Welcome back. This is Mrs. Rubright with Algebra 1 Honors. Today's lesson is 8-6, Solving Quadratic Equations by Factoring. Alright guys, so we're going to be using the zero product property. And the zero product property basically just means that we need to factor and then set our factors equal to 0 to solve. So I'm going to flip forward to the next page just to get an example problem. I'm not going to really go through their setup as much as I'm just going to do it off to the side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this in standard form. I need x squared plus 13x plus 36 equals 0 or equals y. Okay? And now I do not have a leading coefficient, so I'm just going to do my factors. 1 and 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5, no, 6 times 6. Those are all of my factors. What multiplies to 36 and adds to our middle term, 13. Positive 9 and positive 4 add to 13, positive 13, and multiply to positive 36. So we have x plus 4 times x plus 9. Let's double check this. X squared plus 9x plus 4x adds to plus 13x plus 36. So we're good. And those are our factors. So the zero product property says to solve this, we just set our factors equal to 0 and solve. So we would subtract 4 on both sides, leaving us with x equals negative 4. We would subtract 9 on both sides, leaving us with x equals negative 9. So our solutions are negative 4 and negative 9. Our solutions, roots, zeros, x-intercepts, those are all synonyms. Solutions, roots, zeros, x-intercepts are all the same thing. They are where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Suppose the equation had been x squared minus 13x equals negative 36. So when we put that in standard form, this is what we would have. So in that case, we would still have our 1 and 36, our 2 and 18, our 3 and 12, our 4 and 9, and our 6 and 6. But we need to have them multiply to positive 36 and add to negative 13. So for it to be a positive, it has to be a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative, right? So which of these is going to add to 13, negative 13? How about negative 4 and negative 9? So you would have had x minus 4 times x minus 9. So your solutions would have been 4 and 9 instead of negative 4 and negative 9. You guys see how that changed things a little bit? Just changed it just a little bit. Okay, we'll move on to the next page. All right, so find the zeros of f of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 12. So we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 times 4. There's no more numbers between 3 and 4, so we know we have every single factor listed. What multiplies to negative 12 would have to be a positive times a negative, right? And adds to negative 4. Negative 6 and positive 2. X minus 2, nope, x plus 2. X minus 6. All right, well, let's try. X squared minus 6x plus 2x is negative 4x minus 12. It worked. Zero product property. Set this equal to 0 and solve, you get negative 2. Set this equal to 0 and solve, you get 6. So negative 2 and 6 are our solutions. All right, so the first thing we need to do with this is we need to always have it set equal to 0, right? Or equal to y, because y and 0 are the same thing. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And we're going to get 7x squared plus 19x minus 6 equals 0. Is there anything in common I can pull out of these? No. So 7 times 6, what is 7 times negative 6? 42, so we have negative 42. 1 times 42, 2 times 21. Does 3 work? 3 times 14. 4, no. 5, no. 6. 6 and 7. And now there's no more numbers between 6 and 7, so those are all of the factors. What multiplies to negative 42 and adds to positive 19? Negative 2, positive 21. Write your first term twice without the squared. Put your factors underneath. Reduce if possible. 7 and 2, no. 7 and 21, yes. 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 21 3 times. So we're going to have 7x minus 2 times x plus 3. Let's double check. 7x squared plus 21x minus 2x, that's plus 19x, minus 6. It worked. So now that it's factored, we need to set our factors equal to 0 and solve. 7x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0. So this one's going to give us negative 3, and this one's going to give us 7x equals 2, x equals 2/7. So our solutions are 2/7 and negative 3. Solutions, zeros, x-intercepts, right? Where does it cross that x-axis? It crosses it at 2/7 and negative 3. So once again, it was first times third. What multiplies to first times third and adds to our middle term? Write the first term twice without the squared. Put those factors underneath. Reduce if possible. Those are your binomials. Set your binomials, set your factors equal to 0, and solve. Zero product property. All right, so here, is there something in common that can be pulled out first? How about 6? 6 times 2x squared plus x minus 1. Yes? First times third, negative 2. 1 times 2 is negative 2, right? So we have to multiply to negative 2 and add to positive 1. So how about positive 2 and negative 1? Positive 2 and negative 1 will multiply to negative 2 and add to positive 1. Write the first term twice without the squared. Put your factors underneath. Reduce if possible. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once. So I'm going to have that 6 out front stays out front. 2x minus 1, x plus 1. Those are your factors. Equals 0 or equals y. Okay? Set your factors equal to 0 and solve. For this one, we get negative 1. If I set this equal to 0 and solve, I'm going to get 1/2. And those are our solutions, our zeros, our x-intercepts, our roots. Let's try another one. Do you guys see how this is a perfect square minus a perfect square? Take the square root of both of them with the plus and minus version. That's called difference of squares. So, with that, our solutions are negative 5/2 and 5/2. What am I going to pull out of my next example? What do I pull out first? What can I factor out first? 3. 3x squared plus 3x. Oops. Couldn't I have taken something else out? How about an x? 3x times x plus 3 equals 0. Now it's already factored, so set your factors equal to 0 and solve. So you're going to get 0 and negative 3. Physics students are measuring the heights and times of divers jumping off diving boards. The function that models a diver's height in meters above water is this, where v is the initial upward velocity in meters per second. H sub 0 is the diver's height above the water in meters, and t is the time in seconds. A diver who is 3 meters above water jumps off a diving board with an initial upward velocity of 14 meters per second. How many seconds will it take the diver to hit the water? That is, when does h of t equal 0? Okay, so basically we just need to factor this, right? So if we're setting this equal to 0, we have negative 5t squared plus vt. Well, what was our v? Our v is our initial upward velocity. And what did they tell us that was? In meters per second. They told us 14 meters per second, so we're just plugging in a 14 there. And then the h sub 0 is the diver's height above the water in meters. And it says that they are 3 meters above the water. So we're just plugging and chugging. So now we want to factor this. So let's do negative 5 times negative 3. That's negative 15. 1 times 15. 3 times 5. Those are all of our factors, right? What multiplies to negative 15 and adds to positive 14? Positive 15, negative 1. First term twice without the squared. Okay. And then put your factors underneath. Reduce if possible. You can get rid of those negatives. 5 goes in 5 once. 5 goes in 15 3 times. So we're going to have 5t plus 1. And then negative t plus 3. Let's double check. Negative 5t squared plus 15t minus 1t, that's plus 14t, plus 3. It worked. When I set my factors equal to 0 and solve, I get negative 1/5, and I get negative 3, and then it becomes positive, so 3. Which value makes sense in the context of the problem? Can you have negative time? No, so that's not going to work, so just 3. 3 makes sense because time has to be positive. Is this making sense, guys? Yeah? Alright, so let's move over to some practice problems. Because you guys, tonight, your homework is going to be pages 451 and 452. But I want to get into some practice problems with you guys first. So, let's do some of these. Maybe we can do like the odds, or the multiples of 3. Let's do some multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. All right, I want you guys to try number 3 with your table partner. Try number 3. You guys able to get 0 and negative 25? You have x times x plus 25. Set your factors equal to 0 and solve. X equals 0. X plus 25 equals 0. So you get 0 and negative 25. Try number 9. You factor it. You pull out what's in common. X is in common. Pull it out. Set your factors equal to 0 and solve. Pull out the x, leaving you with x times x is x squared, x times 25 is 25x. Set your factors equal to 0 and solve. Try number 6. First thing you need to do is put it in standard form. What multiplies to negative 54 and adds to positive 3? Negative 6 and positive 9. Set your factors equal to 0 and solve. I got negative 9 and positive 6. Negative 9 and positive 6. Try number 9. Try number 9. Try number 9, guys. Did you get that one done yet? Perfect square being subtracted. That is a difference of squares problem. Try 12. Guys, do you see how the first set of directions says solve? The next set of directions says find the zeros of the function. Those are synonyms. It's the same thing. Solve by factoring. Same thing. They're saying find the zeros, the x-intercepts, the solutions, the roots. Solve.
Good morning and pardon the interruption. Please advise that we will be shutting off the water for about an hour, starting at approximately 10:15 today to work on some pipes. So the water should return at approximately 11:15. Again,
you guys noticed during the car line, they didn't let you guys go to the car line because a water main broke and kind of created a little bit of a sinkhole, and so they're just repairing that. So that's what's going on. Anyway, so on negative 20, we have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So those are all of the factors of 20. What adds, you guys, back to math, what multiplies to negative 20, boys, what multiplies to negative 20 and adds to negative 1? Negative 5, positive 4. So that's going to be x plus 4, x minus 5. So your solutions are negative 4 and positive 5. All right. I hope that this is starting to kind of click and jive with you guys, this factoring. So you guys have your homework on 451 and 452. And please like and subscribe and have a fantastic day.